Hey, what's up everyone? Just going to do a quick video today on some interesting things. I have scheduled a battery day for this channel and it's going to be coming up probably in about a week or two. I got in touch with somebody that I'm going to sit down and talk to and interview on Sunday, and I'm going to show you the topics that we're going to cover in a minute. So I hope that that is really, really exciting for people and that they're interested in it, because lots of people have been asking for that on the live stream and in other places, and I think it'll be really cool. And I don't know if you saw this article in Nikkei, the newspaper from Japan, over the weekend, but it talked about how Tesla is 6 years ahead of the competition, and there were some really interesting takeaways from that article, so we'll talk about that in a second. And then you may have also seen the video or the news that there was a Porsche Taycan that caught on fire in a garage in Florida. I'm not going to show the images or the video because here's my thinking, which is that ultimately, one of the big missions for Tesla is to accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles. And so I don't want to spread the same FUD that Tesla suffered from when they were getting their start. And so I'm not going to refer to it at all, but Bill Gates made an interesting comment about the Porsche. Elon responded, and we'll talk about that really quickly. And then what weekday would be complete without an appearance from Cathie Wood? She was back on CNBC talking about ARK, talking about Tesla, and being challenged as usual. Although I think the interviewers are getting a little bit kinder to the Tesla bulls, which is nice. So anyway, take a look at that quickly.
Why would you ever sell any, and have you sold any?
So, yes, we can only buy up to 10% in our portfolios.
So it's for how much?
It is still 10% of our portfolios.
You're going to keep it as much as you can buy. You're going to keep it.
But again, having been a portfolio manager for years, I know there's always another side to the story. There will be another controversy when it comes to Tesla. And what I want to be able to do is when that controversy comes around and the stock drops to 8% of our portfolios, I want to have the room, the latitude to buy.
Here are the topics that I want to cover on Battery Day on this channel. And so number one, just from a high level, for the people like me who are new to this and haven't really studied it, just tell us what the components are that go into a battery. Where do they come from? And I'm talking about the metals, lithium, cobalt, all of those things. How does a battery fit together? Where are the raw materials sourced from? And what does that process entail? And sort of building on number one, I think the second topic that I want to cover is, where does Tesla's advantage come from? They do have a cost advantage over the competition, but why is that? Is it from manufacturing efficiencies? Is it from technological capabilities? Is it from sourcing or offtake agreements that they have, which are good? Is it because they're the only person that's really trying to do this at any scale? That may also be the reason. So I'm curious to understand a little bit more about where exactly Tesla's cost advantage comes from and how durable that competitive advantage is and why they may or may not have such a big lead. Next, where are the potential bottlenecks in battery production for electric vehicles and how big are those risks? So where do the risks come from? Is it on the supply side? Is it the access to those raw materials and rare earth and other metals? What is it? Where could the risks come from? Everybody sort of talks about, well, the big bottleneck is the battery supply, but I want to know why that is and whether or not the problem is solvable and whether Tesla is taking steps to address those potential bottlenecks. And then just a few other notes. So Tesla has this 1,000,000-mile battery goal, basically 100,000 miles or 90,000 miles over 10 years, which they laid out at their Autonomy Day last year. So I want to understand if that's feasible. That may or may not be possible to really understand in depth, but I'm curious about it. And then finally, I just want to caution everybody and remind you, surprisingly, and I really can't believe it looking back on it, and I think a lot of people felt this way in 2019, but the Autonomy Day really wasn't a positive catalyst for Tesla stock. I still don't quite understand why. Because if you listen to the things that the company was saying, obviously they were very bullish. But I just want to caution people about getting too excited about this one event, this Battery Day. Yes, I'm sure we'll hear some exciting things, but we also have to think about what's already built into expectations, what people are hoping for, all of those things. And then next, some of you may know, I'll just cover it quickly, started reading the Tesla 10K out loud last night over the YouTube airwaves, and we got up to page 69 out of 156. It was brutal. I thought it was going to be done. In a couple of hours. It took over 7 hours. I think I was asleep for 20 minutes or 15 minutes, so I'm calling it 6.5 hours of reading time. But I'm going to try to finish it tonight. Also, I found a typo. which I'll show you in a minute. And I'm not sure anybody's found it. So we found it live together. We read every word for word, of the 10K and went through the whole thing in detail, and we found a typo. So that was cool. Also, to make reading the 10K a little bit more interesting, before I started, I went and I counted up how many mentions of the word battery and electricity were. There were 74 and 61 respectively, so 74 mentions of the word battery. I went through and I counted each time the company mentioned battery. I had a little counter up on the screen that I hit, and we ended up getting to 69 before I kind of conked out and fell asleep, and it just wasn't working anymore. We were going too slow. And so the same thing happened with electric, actually. Sorry, it's battery and electric. Got to 47 out of 61, just didn't make it all the way through. And so I said that I would be donating 10 trees to Team Trees for every mention that we missed, and I put 100 on top of that. And so we ended up donating 290 trees to Team Trees, and I think it's a good look. Given what Gigafactory 4 in Berlin is doing, cutting down those trees. We'll replace a few of those. And Elon also donated 1 million trees to Team Trees a little while ago. So, and if you're on the live stream last night, or even if you weren't and you want to go check out where it is, you can go to the Team Trees website, just Google it. And our donation was made at 3:14 p.m. Today, and it was 290 trees. And I just called it GSTC. Geniuses of this channel. Not trying to promote anything, just wanted to get it out there. Here is the typo. Just going to leave it on the screen real quick on that page if you want to go look at it yourself. And tell me in the comments if you notice what it is. So here's the article in Nikkei I was talking about. The title is Tesla Teardown Finds Electronics 6 Years Ahead of Toyota and VW. And I'll leave a link in the description. It's a really fascinating article, and I bet a lot of you have read it, so I won't go through the whole thing, but I'll just give you my take that I think the most interesting point from the article has to do with this idea that when Tesla is competing with the incumbent automakers, with the ICE automakers, it's not necessarily so much that they don't have the capital to spend in order to develop an electric vehicle. It really more has to do with the fact that they've built so much complexity into their existing vehicles, and they've spent so much time forming and forging and sort of connecting different components from various suppliers, that extricating themselves from that whole system is really, really difficult. And so they're basically entrenched and reliant on all of these different suppliers that they've spent all this time, figuring out how to integrate all these different pieces together. And in order to undo that, it'll take so much time. It'll be so painful. They've got so much capital tied up in that system that, Tesla has really benefited by coming in as the new kid on the block and designing a lot of things from the ground up, including their AI chip and other things that have allowed them to make shrewd moves and be very particular about how they build things up. And so again, they have their own AI chip, they have their own systems and processes for doing things, and so they're not reliant on the old system. And so that was sort of my analogy. And here's what my sort of analogy was. This is an ICE vehicle disassembled, and obviously not all these parts are engine parts. There's some seats there and other things, but I'd almost liken it to the iPhone, where if you had an old-time desk and you had a typewriter and a cell phone here and a calculator and a camera and a TV, and somebody came along with an iPhone and they said, I'm going to condense and consolidate all of these things into one item. And yes, it's going to be expensive, but it's going to give you all of these features and functionality that you didn't have before. Well, what would happen? The consumers would say, yeah, I want to replace all this junk on my desk with this, sleek new product that will combine all of these features and functions that take up a lot of room in my life. But what would the cell phone manufacturer say? What would the typewriter manufacturer say? What would the television manufacturer say? They'd say, well, no, wait a minute. We have a way of doing things. We want to keep the status quo. We want to keep selling you junk that's going to clutter up your office, even though it's not the best thing for the consumer. So I sort of feel a little bit like the legacy automakers or the internal combustion engine automakers aren't necessarily doing the thing that makes the most sense, but they are doing something that keeps with the tradition that they've built over 100 or so years. And it's a painful process to extricate themselves from. And so anyway, just a little thought that may not be a good idea. And speaking of controversies, here's Elon Musk calling Bill Gates. He said underwhelming TBH in the tweet after the billionaire, and they're referring to Bill Gates, buys a Porsche. And he had announced last week on Marquez Brownlee's YouTube show in an interview that actually I was surprised by this, that the first electric vehicle that he had purchased was a Taycan, and doesn't own a Tesla. And that news happened to coincide with this news over the weekend, as I said, of that Taycan catching fire in a garage. But anyway, that's the news for today, and I really appreciate you watching. I will be doing the live stream later this evening, and maybe I'll see you there. And if not, thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you soon.